This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your hosts, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
Well, it turns out the Milwaukee Admirals and the Detroit Red Wings also have something in common this year, and that's disappointing fans dramatically on Fan Appreciation Night. Holy smokes, what a game by the Griffins through a tornado warning in Milwaukee on Friday. We have so much fun stuff to talk about as the regular season is finally wrapped up for the Grand Rapids Griffins. We'll give you our full season preview later on when the season is actually complete because the next step is playoffs. So we got 3 games to talk about and a bunch of players to talk about this week on the Hockeytown West podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Let's just start with this. How are you guys feeling? The season's done. Did it fly by for you guys too? Because it feels like the season just went way too quick.
You know, it's kind of funny is that last week I listened to a lot of like end of the season Red Wings ones. They were very sad. And here we are on the positive side. Like we still have more hockey to cover. Did go by really fast, especially, but it feels kind of long too. Like it feels like the All-Star break was 3 months ago, which
it feels like it was like last month.
Months ago. So yeah, it just went by so fast. So especially with all these new guys coming in, and it's weird to think like this was such a crazy season. Like a lot of wins.
You, Trav, the season fly by for you too?
Yes and no. Like there were points where it felt slow. Like down here, it's kind of like you hit March and you're like, okay, or like maybe not March, more like January, and it's like, is it April yet? And then for the Griffins, it was like Christmas, and it's like, well, is it April yet? Because like they pretty much are gonna make the playoffs. But yeah, I know it. The last few weeks have gone pretty slow, I think. But all in all, like the first few months went really fast. This is my favorite time of the year. Like it's the best.
Oh yeah.
So
100%. It's so great for us on this show that we have 2 teams in the playoffs to talk about. Like you said, Nick, listening to all the Red Wings shows, being all sad, and we're over here like it's party time. It's time to go. We're ready, and I'm super excited for it. And it has been a very fun season when you look at this. I mean, the Griffins clinched at the end of February, and at that point, you kind of just go, "What's there to play for?" And there's been stuff for us to talk about every week. There's been stories. There's been new guys. There's been a week where there was ECHL PTOs left and right on this team. The ice melted. Like there's been so many wild things that have happened since this team clinched a playoff spot, and now we're finally to that point where we can start talking about it. Not even really to that point because we have the first round bye, which looks like, if I had to guess, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that game 1 is going to be the 29th of April. That is my guess based on looking at Chicago and Texas's schedule for how they are going to be. I think that's when we'll start.
Did you look at Van Andel's availability for that day?
I did not, but we'll be on the road to start for the first 2 games anyways.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's fair.
I did not care to look at that.
Did you look at their availability?
I didn't think to go to Manitoba and Milwaukee and look at their arenas. I don't think that was on the top of the priority list this week for me. Most of this week's been dodging wind and rain and tornado warnings. So that's the fun stuff that happens around here, I guess. But at least we know if you're playing a hockey game in Milwaukee, they will play through the tornado warning. It will not stop, which is the most Midwestern thing I've ever heard, honestly. So let's talk about some news and updates as we head into this, because there was a couple pieces of news for this week. And the first one is the reinforcements returned. Obviously, Detroit's season ended. We got Carter, Mazer, Dominic Shine, MBN, and ASP all back in Grand Rapids. We've looked at playoff times in the past where you look at the teams around you and go, look at all these NHL reinforcements these guys got. Detroit hasn't had a ton of our prospects to loan back to us when it comes to playoff time. This year's different. How much more fun is it to get a group like this back?
I mean, you're going to start at the top. Dominic Shine, right? Like that guy is the motor of this team. Stoked to have him back. I'm disappointed he didn't get more playing time in Detroit, to be honest. I'm sure he is too. But to have him back, that's the heart and soul of this Griffins team. Like we'll get into that stat later that you've got. But I mean, for him, that's going to be a huge one. Obviously with MBN, another big piece, playoff player, right? His game is more suited for the playoffs. So excited to see what he does, what kind of damage he could do for us this year. And then I think the other guy too would be ASP. Like, just not getting a whole lot of time in Detroit. So to kind of see, his development side here at Grand Rapids, I'm excited for those 3. I mean, you could even, you could throw Mazer in there too, because he just didn't get a whole lot of time at all this season. But
yeah, correct.
I mean, it's exciting. They get all their guys back. Everybody was like Shine's on waivers. It's like, well, he's got to go through to come back. Like, nobody's going to pick him up like that. I've seen that a lot. And I'm like, can we just take a breath? Like, he's not going to get claimed. Like, what? I
It
didn't
could have been
understand
something
that.
very evil to do by another team just to screw with Detroit, but I don't think NHL GMs really play that kind of game.
It's like dirty pool. It's just like, I was like, that's not going to happen. But it's big time reinforcements. Like you said, you get 3 top 6 forwards and a top pair defenseman probably for the playoff run for the Griffins. Anytime you can add 4 pieces that are as impactful as what those guys are at this level, makes the lineup decisions harder.
Yeah, it really does. I don't envy Dan Watson, especially with what you've seen some of these kids step into the lineup and do when they've been asked to do it. Like, we'll obviously talk about Dylan James today after the game in Cleveland that didn't matter to the Griffins, and there's some fun storylines out of that. But outside of that, heading to the awards news, we have some awards that have already been given out for this regular season, and we'll start with John Leonard being named second team All-Star, which that's a joke. He's first team All-Star. Come on.
Probably had to play a few more games to qualify. That's my guess.
I think he needed to score a couple more goals, but
that should have all been voted on. And the fact that he wasn't, if it's by voting and he wasn't a first team All-Star, that's pretty pathetic in the voters' eyes, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, I don't disagree if that was voted on like that, but at the same time, you do look at the guys that were awarded it ahead of time or ahead of him. Like, it makes sense when you look at the stats, the numbers, all that stuff. But
yeah, but
still cool.
Take it into the sample size. Like, how many games did they play?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, let's be real, if Leonard doesn't miss, what was that, like 3 weeks he was hurt, and then the couple stints in Detroit, like if he's playing 70 games, he might have scored 60 goals this year at the rate he was 55 goals. Like, the rate he was going.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear like the sample size is very different when you look at Arthur Kaliev, who led the league in goals. He had 40 goals in 70 games. John Leonard is second, 33 in 47 games. So like,
right, like that's pacing 60.
Again, if that's voted on, they screwed up big time. But at the same time, he still gets honors. Yes, it's second team, but it's still cool to see a Griffins player get that. I haven't seen that in actually a little while. And maybe I think one of the goaltenders might have had it recently, and maybe Cossa got it last year, the year before. But it's still nice to see a forward jump into that because it has definitely been a minute. And then right before we started recording the show today, they announced another award for both of our goaltenders, which is really cool to see. A nice shared award, the Harry Happ Holmes Award for Cossa and Postava for the least amount of goals against in the regular season. And it's, when you look at these numbers just combined, right, it's insane. These two had an incredible season. And the even better part of this is that Michal Postava finally played enough games to qualify for this award. So we can share that for the regular season, Michal Postava led the American Hockey League in both goals against and save percentage. Absolutely unreal from him. But at the same time, the team doesn't get this award. The goalies don't get this award without what Cossa did for the majority of the season as well.
I'm glad they were both able to get it. I was before we were recording, I was reading off some of the former goalies that did win it. It was Corey Schneider, Calvin Pickard, Austin Wolf, Alex Lyon, some guy named Manny Legacy. I'm not sure if anybody will remember him, or Gene Sebastian Jaguar. It's some good company with some of these guys. Like, a lot of these guys went in and it made the NHL and it performed well. You could only hope that these two goalies, right, in Detroit's pipeline are going to continue to move up and continue to do well moving forward.
Yeah, so that is truly what you hope. And you look at the other way of stats that the season ends with here. Sebastian Cossa finished second in shutouts with 5 behind Brandon Halverson from Syracuse, who had 6. Michal Postava is right behind him with 4. Sebastian Cossa finished third in all goalies and wins at 26. Revy Poirier was ahead of him at 27, and the leader, and that was Michael DiPietro from Providence at 34. And you look at the other side of the spectrum here, William Lagesson finished third in the league for plus minus at plus 33. John Leonard and MBN tied for third place for game-winning goals this season with 8. And John Leonard, obviously, like we said, finished second in the league in goal scoring this year at 33. So some impressive numbers from very impressive players on this team. The game-winning goal one is wild when you look at, obviously MBN didn't spend the full season here either. You wonder what if he could have led the league in that. You just needed 2 more to lead it. Avery Hayes and Justin Bailey were ahead of him, and Avery Hayes, as we've all kind of seen, has been just a standout prospect for Pittsburgh and playing very well in Wilkes-Barre. So not a surprise to see him there. He's kind of been clutch this season for them. But that is all the awards so far, we should say. So far. I'm sure there'll be more announced as this goes on. And obviously, we have playoff stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about standings and playoff matchups near the end of the episode. Let's talk about the games that happened this week for the Griffins. Same format of a show last week. Quick game recaps. We're going to dive into talking about some of the guys. If you like this new format of the show, let us know in the comments. We'd appreciate the feedback on it. We feel like it's more fun, flows a lot easier for us, and it's good to be able to put the spotlight on guys instead of just talking about who outperformed in this game and maybe forgetting about talking about them in the next game. The way the schedule went this week, the Griffins started the week in Iowa on Wednesday with a nice dominant 5-2 win.
They came out dominant. I mean, they scored 4 goals in the first period. Like, it was like, hey, we're gearing up for the playoffs at this point. And the lineup was out there. I was excited because you got Keenan Draper out there making his pro debut. You had Jesse Kiskinen out there as well that game. And then also to make his pro debut was Dylan James. And I thought they played well, the kids on that end.
Yeah, it was nice to see the two of them get their first game. Obviously, it was Kiskinen's second game, but it was really nice to see those two jump into the lineup. And I really like James's game. We're going to talk about him a little bit more later. What stood out to me most, just looking at the stats in this, because obviously I was recovering from a dental surgery that morning, it was great to see the Griffins come out and score 4 in the first. Iowa tried to climb back in the second, getting 2 goals, but the Griffins really just shut it down in the third period. Obviously, they scored a goal with that empty net goal, which was a really weird empty net goal by Alex Kanek-Leeper, where he just kind of breaks up the play and the puck goes the other end into the net. But they shutting it down, meaning they held Iowa to only 6 shots on goal in that third period compared to the Grand Rapids Griffins, 11 shots they put up in the third. You can tell Iowa really ran that second period, out shooting Grand Rapids 13-6. They were really trying to get back in. Michal Postava, again, amazing in this game, as you would expect. And Amadeus Lombardi had a really nice game in this one. 2 points for him, a goal and an assist. But again, that third line showing up big too.
The one thing I wanted to add is that I thought Anton was really good, especially in the first period. He was activating into the play. You've seen the nice play along the boards, and then he gets out to the front of the net. Then you seen him coming downhill into a one-timer, and he hits the crossbar. I thought he, from the bits and pieces I got to watch, I started covering the game, then Nick took over and chaos ensues, which normally always seems to happen. But I really noticed like him standing out in that first period. And then when Nick took back over, I had to go back to what I was doing, which was editing the Toledo show. So it was just like maximum chaos on a Wednesday night. But I just wanted to point out that I thought he was really good, and especially in that first period.
The one thing that makes me nervous, though, is that second period. The second period, for whatever reason, the Griffins have struggled. And it's not just this game, but it's been previous games as well. Seems like they kind of nipped it in the butt after this one, but it's just we get a big lead, and then we give it away in the second. Like, they just don't come out as strong, and they just kind of ride it throughout the game. And so it always, once we got those 2 against us, I'm just like, oh boy, we're going to be in for a long night, Nick. Because that's when I started taking, I was taking over for Travis. So made me nervous. And the other thing that I want to put out is just the power play. It's 1 for 6. Like, again, it's just continually being abysmal. I don't know if this is a Detroit thing or what, but hopefully something over the offseason fixes it. It gets it better, because even bringing in some of these guys that have the skill, have the power, like MBN, to be able to score, to finish the puck, it's just continually struggle on this power play, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, 1 for 6 obviously isn't what you want to see. You're happy you get 1 back there, but you hope you can convert on some of the other opportunities. But hey, in a 5-2 game, that's the night to go 1 for 6. At least the PK went 3 for 3. Posty stopping 24-26 against that night. It was just a really solid game all around. Now we'll head to the game that I think surprised us all with the final score here, because I did not see this one coming when we went into it, because Milwaukee obviously is fighting for their spot, trying to get to third place to get out of that play-in round, maybe, hopefully for them, fighting for home ice maybe in that play-in round if they get it. And the Griffins walk into Milwaukee and shut them out and win 8-0. Michal Postava gets the start in this one, stops 24-24. But the Griffins' offense absolutely explodes. And I know Milwaukee sat some guys in this. I think they were down 5 or 6 guys that might have just been reassigned from the NHL. So obviously take that into account when we're talking about this. But just overall, primarily the third line just dog walked Milwaukee in this game.
Yeah, the one thing I want you to do, hopefully you can pull this up for post-production, is just put the shot chart of the goals in this game, is because every single goal came from the slot. Every single goal was just straight down the slot is where they scored. I was going to share this in the group messenger. There was the last night when I was like, I'll hold this for the pod. They just left it wide open. Like, anybody was going to be able to score there. And Dan said today on in pregame is, our first line, we do expect them to score, but it's good that we have the depth for our third line to be able to put up the points as well. And they were able to take advantage of that, right? Our depth is going to be a huge thing moving forward. We've talked about it last season. We talked about it this season. So it's good to see that third line of Wojo, Trail Max, and it's been Riklovsky / Becker some nights. Yeah.
/ Kiskinen some nights, even since
Kiskinen.
he's arrived. Yeah. I mean, when you talk about this game, I know we don't have him listed to talk about later, but we'll talk about the third line as a whole. But Riklovsky, a 2-goal game in this one. Like, that was huge for him. And they weren't easy goals to score. But when you chase Matt Murray in a game, like, Matt Murray is one of the top goaltenders in the American League. He has been and will be for a very long time. When you chase him in a game in their own barn on Fan Appreciation Night through a tornado warning, it's pretty fun. It's really fun.
Crazy. I remember a couple years ago, we've been covering this team for a long time. And just like Matt Murray, like that guy they always play incredible in front of us, right? It's just, they're so hard to get. And this year it just seems like we have so much firepower.
I mean, it was obviously an offensive masterclass, but look at the defensive side of the puck too here. Second period, yes, Milwaukee had 13 shots, but in the first they had 6. In the third, they had 5. I mean, you're down 8-0 trying to find signs of life, and you only allowed them to get 5 shots on goal. I mean, not saying Postava didn't have to earn that shutout because he had to make some crazy big saves. I can think of 2 or 3 sequences where I was just like, this kid, holy smokes. But at the same time, to shut Milwaukee down like that, well, that's going to feel good for a long time.
How many snowmans have they hung up this year on teams?
A lot.
Like,
we're building a snowman army.
I was going to say, I think it's like 3 or 4 that they've put 8 on the boards. It's always just a fun little tidbit. I remember I looked at the score and I'm like, oh, it's 4-0. Then I got downstairs and somebody's like, yeah, GR just finished. It was 8-0. I was like, excuse me? I was like, are you kidding me? When did that happen?
Look, Leonard's last goal was at the 12-minute 47-second mark of the period. And I was like, can we do 10 again? As soon as we got 8, I'm like, let's chase this 10. Let's do 10 goals in a game twice this season. Once against the team that knocked you out of the playoffs last year, and once against Milwaukee, who knocked you out of the playoffs the previous year. That would have felt so darn good, but I'll take 8. I can't
Sucks
complain.
that like they were both on the road too. Like because like, could you imagine like the "We Want 10" chant going through Van Andel? Like somebody would have started it.
Dude, if this would have been Fan Appreciation Night at Van Andel, holy smokes, it would have been a party.
We still have time for the playoffs for this to start. Like, we may play them in the playoffs. So like it could be a possibility we could hang another 8 to 10. It could happen. I want to touch on one thing though, that you said there, Brandon, was low shots against Milwaukee. I think Posty's last shutout against Milwaukee was also like a 10 shot.
It was like
shutout.
13 or 14 shot. Yeah, something really low. Yeah, like we'll talk about Posty here in a minute. We're definitely going to talk about Posty. We have to. We got one more game to talk about, and this is kind of the throwaway game, right? Cleveland's playing for playoff positioning. We were playing for nothing. You look at the starting lineup in this one. Most of the veterans were sat in this one. You had Dylan James and Kiskinen and Draper in this game. Like, you had all the kids in, all the vets out. It was kind of fun to see, like, hey, kids, go show us what you got, because coach said before the game he still expected them to go out there and play to the identity of this team. And the result, it's lopsided, right? It's a 6-4 loss for the Griffins. You had both Sebastian Cossa and Trey Augustine in this game, and we will preface this with Cossa did not get pulled for the performance in this game. This was pre-planned, according to Dan Watson, to get Augustine some time. They were going to split this. It feels like Dan Watson treated this like a preseason game, honestly, which is pretty fun when you are able to do that as a hockey team at this time of year. It's a really nice thing to see. And I know Detroit fans, once they saw the lineup, there was so many questions, and I think they forgot that when you clinch a playoff spot, you usually rest your vets before the playoffs start. I know it's been a while, guys. I know, but that's how that works. So there's your reminder. But this game, there's cool things to talk about with it, even with the loss, right? Dylan James, first pro goal, and he has a 2-goal game.
Yeah, he was ripe for it. Like it was going to happen at some point. I was surprised he didn't get it the first game that he played. I thought he played really well. I think he was sat the second game, and then they ended up putting him back in this one. Yeah, because I was mad that I was like, why did they not play him? Because he played really well the first game. So I was like, why are they sitting him for the second game that he could have played in? But anyways, that first goal was crazy. Just kind of took a weird bounce, and then his second goal was just kind of a snipe from the office, which was super nice. So Really liked the way he played his last two games, and I think he'll fit in really well on that for the playoffs.
I think so too. And then Kiskinen also got his first goal after being robbed of his first goal in his first game back at home. But it was nice to see him find the back of the net as well. I got to ask you, Nick, because I didn't get to watch this full game today. How did Trey look compared to what we saw in his first game to today? Did he look more settled?
Trey looked more settled. He had a lot more bigger saves. There was one point on the penalty kill that he just stood up, just robbed Cleveland quite a bit. Had a lot of big saves, a lot of big moments. It's hard for me. Somebody asked on Twitter, and I believe it was Linda, and I was just like, it's such a small sample. It's so hard to say how he's going to be, because you put the kid, I was going to retweet this, today was the last Kids Day game. That's what they put out there, was the kids. So you put together a lineup out there. It's not everybody. It's not a full team. Well, it is a full team, but it's not like your regular guys. And then you're coming in halfway through the game. It's just kind of odd, right? So it's not really a traditional way. His other game, first game, super nervous in front of the home crowd, had a lot going on. So it's just hard to tell how is he going to be. But I thought he played a lot better this game than he did the first.
Yeah, I based on just the stats alone and from the clips that you posted on our Twitter page from this game, I could see that he definitely looked more comfortable. And I'm so glad you said the Kids Day thing. The Griffins posted on their Twitter before the game, we got 2 dads, 2 uncles, and their whole lot of kids. That's what this game's roster was today. And it's best. It really is the best way to put it, honestly, when you look at some of the guys that were out there. It's good to see Trey get some action. I'm glad it was pre-planned. I'm glad coach thought to get him in there, because you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs. Disaster could happen, and Trey Augustine's playing games in the playoffs. That's not what we want to see, obviously. As much as we'd love to see Trey get some of that time, we just don't want that situation to have to unfold, clearly. But it was good to see him get out there. And, people look at Cossa's stats in this one too, and they all go up in arms. He faced 22 shots in 30 minutes of action. Yes, he allowed 3. 2 of the goals, though, I'm going to say he had no chance. Especially that one. He made 3 saves, and they picked up a rebound that squirted out. I can't talk. They picked up a rebound that squirted out and were able to bury it. What's he supposed to do there? You could be critical on his stats recently, sure. We've talked about that last week. But at the same time, you can't be overcritical when it's impossible for him to get to that puck.
Yeah, that one was weird. And I'm trying to remember, there was a backdoor one, and I think that was not him. I think he was in net for that one as well.
That's the one that I said was probably
I mean, it's tough. There were so many goals in this game. So for me, it was just rewind clip. So it was such a fast paced game, and it was really hard. This might be a game that I go back and rewatch tomorrow, just to kind of get a look at Trey.
Yeah, that's fair. The only other thing I'll call up in this game is Zachary Aston Reese. No slashing Doucette like that, bro. Oh my God. What was that about? Zach Aston Reese gets a 5-minute major for slashing in a game misconduct at this one, taking the stick to the back of the legs of Alex Doucette. Come on, bro. You're winning the game. Why are you so mad?
Said something to him in French and he didn't like it.
All right, so moving on from the game recaps, enough talk about those. Let's talk about our stories from the week. And the first one, we already talked about the awards given to the goaltenders, but the Griffins set another franchise record this week with their win in Milwaukee for the most road wins in a season by any Griffins team, with 27. We've obviously talked about the difference between playing at home and on the road. And as we roasted Nick last week, where he said they were horrible at home and they only had lost a handful of games at home, still what they've been able to do on the road this season has just been absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it's no wonder why coaches decided to start on the road, right? It's they've played so well. It's weird. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. He starts the season that way. It seems like that's the same way Toledo's been starting it. So maybe it's just carryover from when he was down in Toledo when he was coaching there. But this team is it's deadly on the road. And kind of makes me nervous that we might not even see him play in the round 2 of the playoffs, or the first round of the playoffs, right? We could just go into Milwaukee or Manitoba and just sweep them, right?
No, because it'll be 2 games there and then 3 at home if necessary. You got to win 3 games to advance. So we'll see at least 1 game at home for the first round. At least 1.
Depending on availability. Because didn't one year they went 3 at Texas to start or something like that, or Texas had to go?
Texas had home ice in that one.
So, yeah.
Either way.
Makes it nervous.
Either way, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Yes, either way, as Travis has alluded, it's very stupid for the playoff format that it is. But it's not just when you look at like their ability to win on the road, it's the ability to score on the road. At home, they had 110 goals scored this season. On the road, they had 145. Their ability to find the back of the net on the road is just absurd.
And it makes zero sense because you're the home team, you have the better matchup, right? So how do they continue to do this?
I'll tell you.
Depth scoring?
No, Dan Watson preached being a tight team. When are you the closest? When you're on the road. Like that mentality started down here. Like he always wanted to take care of home ice, but he always wanted to be a good team on the road too. Like you're gonna have to win games on the road. That's when you're the tightest group of guys, right? Listen to Brandon Tangrady's interview when they were going to play putt-putt in places. Like the guys are getting close, they're hanging out together. It's the best time to bond, become a team. When you're out and about though, when you have a confidence like that, it rolls and snowballs. Like it doesn't really surprise me, to be honest. Sometimes when you play at home, like you can be so tense that it's just, you don't play as well. And like you grip your sticks a little too tight. You maybe want to make that pretty play. So where you would go on the road, it's like just put the hard hat on and go to work, do your work, get your job done, and come back home.
To that point, Dan did say that there's less distraction on the road. So they're on a trip. They're there to play hockey and to go home. I just ask him for one favor. If it comes down to it in the finals, please win it at home. Like
Oh, please.
Just win it in general. Just win it in general.
To win it on the road, though, like
they've won it once on the road and then once at home. So they've done both. But winning on the road would be really satisfying or winning at home, I should say, would be really satisfying for us to be able to see and be there for. But just win it. I don't care.
Yeah, you just win it. If you get the opportunity, you just win it. It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter how.
But starting on the road it's an absolute brilliant move by Dan Watson, clearly, to have them start the first round on the road. It makes total sense. So that stat had to be talked about, obviously setting a new franchise record there. But we're going to head to a quick ad break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more players, give you guys the full playoff breakdown of who's matching up with who around the American Hockey League, and another little fun tidbit about what NHL team has their AHL team and ECHL teams all in the playoffs as well when we come back.
No sport flips faster than hockey. One power play, a goalie pulled with 2 minutes left, and everything changes. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for that kind of chaos. With live betting from puck drop to the final buzzer, and DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If you place a pregame player prop bet and your player starts the game but leaves in the first period due to injury and doesn't return, you'll get your bet back in cash. No bonus bets, no opt-in, just real protection when injuries happen early. Sportsbook customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
And welcome back. All right, let's talk about some players. Obviously, we have to start with one, right? We have to start with Michal Postava. Look at the week that this kid had. His 4th shutout of the season, setting a rookie record for goaltenders in Grand Rapids as well with those 4 shutouts. And the crazy stat of 3 of those 4 being against Milwaukee. Milwaukee has not scored a goal on Michal Postava all season long.
Needed him 2 years ago.
Absolutely nuts. Like, have you ever seen that where a goalie just shuts a whole team out? Like, every time he plays, like, I can't think of a time that's happened.
I can't either. I'm trying to think of how many times we shut out Milwaukee in general. Was it just those 3? I felt like Gyro had one against them. Maybe I'm mistaken here, but at the same time, dude, it's unreal that 3 of your 4 were against the same team that you could potentially meet up with in game 1 of the playoffs. Obviously, that's a perfect transition to my question, and we all kind of know the answer. And this isn't Cossa slander. Travis and I will not stand for Cossa slander, clearly by the jersey behind Travis. Mine's hanging in another room. But at the same time, the game 1 starter is Michal Postava, right?
Has to be at this point. Like, I mean, he if we're playing Milwaukee, for sure, right? I don't know what the stats are against Manitoba. I did my whole preview last night against Milwaukee. Now
Cossa actually has the upper hand over Manitoba. I will say that.
Cossa does.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it depends, right? Depends on who we play is who's going to be the starter. Maybe there's a small nagging injury that somebody is working through. I don't know. That could be it could be something, right? It could be nothing. Everybody's beat up at this time of the year. So, having a week and a half off could help reset, could help. I know they're not taking a vacation this week and a half. Dan said that they're going to be practicing pretty hard and possibly 2 groups of practice because of the amount of guys that they have, which I thought was very interesting.
That can be fun.
But I think you've got to ride the hot hand. I don't think you've overrode him either. And you got to go with Posty. I think he's earned it. Now, who has the say in this, right? Is it Detroit or is it Dan Watson?
That's the grand question of it all, is who's going to be the one pulling the strings there. But I think if you're Detroit, you got to look at this and go, look, we signed this kid not knowing what he was going to be. And the numbers he's put up in 25 games, 1.71 goals against and a .937. You can't argue with that. You have to go, we have to start him. Yes, is it important for Cossa to play these games too? Yes, 100%. Is Dan going to go with a rotation? Who knows? We've seen him do it before. But I think for game 1, you have to go with Postava. It kills me to say it because obviously we love Cossa. We know what we want to see from him, but there's going to be a lot of interesting off-season conversation around these goalies, and I'm going to save it for off-season because unlike other media out there in the world, I don't like to put the negative out there during this important time of the year. I don't want any word to get back to a player that's negative. I want all positive thoughts. Let's go. Either goalie that's in, I don't care who it is, go out there and play their best. Michael Postava has definitely earned that conversation, and just the season he's had alone is outstanding for a goalie that, Travis, we talked at the beginning of the season. Is it going to be Gylander, NGR, and Postava starting in Toledo? And look at what we're talking about now. We're talking about the goalie that finished in the top of the league.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? You didn't know what you were getting, and that's, I think, why we talked about that initially. You had no idea. I think the original their plan was probably just to let it ride out through camp, and then they obviously it sorted itself out. But to answer the question, I think they go Cossa game 1, and I think they give him a short leash.
I don't like that.
And here's why. I think Detroit is going to have some input on this to a point. And that's where I think they go Coast game 1. And if it doesn't go well, then they go Postava game 2. They're not gonna let it snowball. I think they're gonna go Cossa game 1. Now, do I see a world where Postava starts game 1? 100%. But I can see Big Brother saying, hey, we have way too much invested into him not to be he has to figure it out. This is his time to figure it out. If he wants to be a number 1, he was drafted 15th overall for the reason to be a number 1. And I get Postava's had such a great year, and I hear your arguments, and I completely don't disagree with either of you. And I could just see it go short leash if it doesn't go well. It's just a weird feeling that I have with it. But I could see, and I wouldn't be mad if they started Postava. He's earned the opportunity. You can make the argument both of them have, with how, as a whole, their whole season as an entire, how the whole season's worked out. They both deserve to play in the playoffs, and I think they go a rotation. That's why I think they go with Cossa first. He's got the playoff. He's played in the playoffs here.
You don't think Trey gets a game?
No. Nice try. We already talked about that earlier. I get where Travis is coming from on it. I 100% do, because I think Big Brother has more of an impact on this than we all think it does. I think you put Cossa in, and let's say it goes as it's gone the past few starts, and it's 3 quick goals, and you pull him, it's going to rattle him to the point where you can't go back to him.
Well, figure it out. Tough shit. It's tough love, but I mean, if you're going to be the guy, you got to be able to take games over this time of the year. He was drafted.
If you're playing
to be
Milwaukee,
the guy.
I think you statistically have to go with Postava. I don't think you can argue the statistics. If you've not allowed that team to score a goal on you this season, you kind of have to go, well, sorry, Detroit, look at what we have here.
That's where I think they go rotation.
I don't think you're wrong. I think we do see a rotation. It's a rotation with a short leash is what I think it is.
It's so hard. It's just so hard to say. I could just see them look, you got to at least go with him game 1. If it doesn't work, then you can do whatever you want. But I just feel like Detroit's going to be in their ear of, you have to do it game 1. He has to play.
You might not be wrong.
And this could be a situation. I'm just going to throw this out there. This could be a situation to where if you have 2, you have none, because you could fall behind. Say it goes bad early. Like if they went
It's the
Cossa,
best of 5. It can't go bad early.
well, no, I'm saying, but if they start him and it doesn't go well, all of a sudden you're down 0-1. And then if for some reason Postava plays great, but you lose like 1-0, all of a sudden now what do you do? Like, you know what? Obviously they'd go, you see what I mean? Though? Like
Trey in. Then that throws everybody off.
no,
No,
Trey will not play
3 different
barring an
goalies,
injury.
3 different styles.
Trey's going to be practicing with that second practice team.
Yeah,
I'm being funny here.
Posty's definitely earned the opportunity. I'm not disagreeing with you guys for that settlement. I just think Detroit's going to be heavily involved in this to a point. I just have that feeling. Which, does it suck? Yes, because right now, writing the hot hand, it's Postava's net to lose.
But I mean, if Detroit's involved, they clearly don't make the right decisions in general anyways right now. So here we go. But at the same time, there's so much negative talk on Cossa with his stats recently. And yes, he's had some bad starts. He's still finished 6th in the league in goals against, 7th in the league in save percentage, right behind Jacob Fowler, Sergei Murashev, like Michael DiPietro's in that mix. Like, there's so many star-studded players that he's in the mix with still. Like, it's not like he's still not a top dog in this league and still hasn't earned that opportunity. It's just the statistics with Postava not allowing Milwaukee to score a goal in 3 straight games against. Like, especially when you get to the second round. Like, if we're talking Chicago in the second round, here's the eye-opening stat for Michal Postava. In 6 games played, now mind you, one of those games he got hurt early in the game. He's 3-1 against Chicago with a 1.11 goals against .956 save percentage. That's insane.
I think it's a full rotation.
I don't think you're wrong because Dan's done it before.
He's done it before, and they've both shown points they can dominate. Now, granted, Cossa it's been a while because he's gone through this rut, and Postava has really helped carry the team, in that time. But they both are playing so well that, like, He literally did this with the goaltender of the year in the ECHL in Letterman, and he had rookie Cossa, and he alternated them.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
I think it's a rotation.
I do the alternate. I do the rotation 100%. Or I say, all right, Posty, you're just a dog on the road. You're starting the first 2. We're back home. Hey, Cossa, here you go. You're starting at home.
I don't think you can go back to back and then make the change if you're up.
It's on the schedule.
I mean, if you're up, but if you're up 2-0, you're not switching a goalie.
That's also true.
Like you got a chance to close them out. You just would ride the hot hand at that point. That's why I think they just go full rotation.
I think the consensus is I'm glad I'm not Dan Watson.
Yeah. And if one of them gives you a reason not to go back to the other, then it solves itself.
Which didn't he remind me, like the first year where Cossa was down in Toledo, like he went back to back with one of them in the last round before they got eliminated, right?
The
rotation stopped at some point, I thought.
Well, I think they went Cossa back to back against
Idaho.
Against Idaho, yeah, at one point.
And I feel like Toledo did that recently too. I think it was under Pat, but I think they did the same
did it
thing,
the last 2 years.
Yeah. So anything can happen, but I know it's been the dominant part of conversation. I think the biggest thing that drives me nuts this week and watching all this unfold is just the negativity online towards Cossa. Like everyone's, like we talked last week, the shiny new toy effect. Like everyone's doing the Toy Story thing where they're dropping the freaking doll and running, man. That's what's happening here. And I hate it because this kid's given this city and these teams so much over these last few years to where, why can't you cheer for all of them? I don't understand. We want them all to be successful. We need them all to be successful. Let's just enjoy what we have, because you look at the goalie pipeline of Detroit too. We're going to be talking about goalies and fun goalies for quite some time here potentially. And it's just exciting. So just appreciate it while you have it, because there's way worse situations we could be in this league. And we've been there. I remember the season of 8 goalies. We've been there. So enough goalie talk. Just a heck of a week by Posty. Love seeing what he's done this season, and congrats again to him on finishing first in the league in the 2 most important stats as a goaltender. Let's talk about the captain. There's a stat, and this is why us as a show and as Griffin supporters, we're so excited to get him back. This is why we speak so passionately about him when he was in Detroit, to all the haters who just think he's just a 4th line guy, doesn't make an impact. The Grand Rapids Griffins are 32-2-2 this season with Dominic Shine in the lineup. 32-2-2. That's absurd numbers.
32-3-2.
Oh, that's right. Today. He played today, didn't he? My bad.
I had to check.
My bad. That game was a throwaway. 32-3-2 still is just unreal. And there's no I in team, right? But at the same time, Dominic Shine does something to this lineup.
There's an I in Shine.
There definitely is, man. Just when you look at this season overall, talking about Dominic Shine as the player he is. Like, we know the person he is on and off the ice. We know the player he is, but just how absolutely unreal it's been to watch him continue to grow. You're talking about a guy who was thinking about retiring, set a career high in stats last year, and then comes into this season, only plays 40 games because he's back in the NHL for a long period of time again, as he should be, and just finished 8 points short of that career high last season. 40 games, 21 goals, 17 assists. Just unreal how lucky we are to have a player like that. He's turning into Hawk in Toledo, where you've got that guy who's just the identity of this team, and now we have it in both cities. This is crazy.
The Dan Watson effect right there. Maybe. I mean, he's been here for 3. We've seen him, right? The last 3-4 years now. Dom Shine, as he starts at the bottom and he worked his way all the way to the top line. He is the motor of this team, right? It's crazy. It's not like he's out there like Hawk putting up a bunch of goals and a bunch of assists. Like, it's to compete, right? It's the identity. This is what the team is. And, I don't know. He's like the classic Detroit guy, right? The third line grinder who becomes the top, who becomes a fan favorite. He's been a fan favorite since he's been here, with the knockout punches and the middle finger, meme that's out there, GIF. I mean, he's one of the dudes, right? And, to be close to retiring and then being able to have that opportunity to play in front of his kid, and he's expecting another one now as well. It's great for him. And then to be nominated for the Masterton Award
In the NHL. Yeah.
in the NHL, like it's so cool. And I hope he's able to bring a trophy home to the city.
It would be really sweet to see him hoist that trophy as the captain. It really would be. And like, you look at like the stats in the regular season, that's great, right? Well, let's talk about playoff Dominic Shine too these last 2 years. And we know the playoffs haven't gone our way these last 2 years, right? But this last year, point per game player in those 3 games they played. The year before that, 5 points in 9 games. Like, he doesn't stop. The motor keeps going once the postseason starts, and you got to just look at who he's surrounded by this year heading in. Like, what is playoff Dominic Shine going to look like this year? And it feels like it's going to be an unstoppable force. If that record that they have as a team can hold true with him in the lineup through the playoffs, that's a celebration at the end of the year right there for sure. But we are just so thankful to have this player back on our team and how much it's been. And obviously the Griffins went through ruts while he was gone, right? That wasn't just because Dominic Shine was gone. There was a lot of other factors into that too. But for them to still produce the way they did without him, showing that, yep, we're still the same team, but then you get that spark back in the lineup when he rejoins. It's the perfect time for this all to happen.
Yeah, you pulled the stat the other night that they haven't lost three games in a row all season. I mean, he was
Well,
gone
they haven't lost 4 games in a row. They've lost 3 games in a row 3 times this season. That's their longest losing streaks of the season. And every time after they came out of those, they won at least 2 or more.
So, I mean, it sets us up pretty well. I know he was gone for a while, being up in Detroit. So good to have him back. It's just, he keeps it's the culture. It's the culture, right? Even if he's gone, the team is still performing. The team is still going. I don't know. It's weird because you're not there. You're not in the locker room. So you don't know, like, these new guys, how they're going to mesh with him, like Wojo, and you get, Kiss. You get all these new guys too, Dylan James. Like, Detroit drafts a lot of captains, a lot of leaders. So you get too many of them. And I'm like, well, who's going to be the guy to speak up or do, And I think everybody knows, like, at the end of the day, this is Shine's team, right?
Well, we've been told before, like, Dominic Shine isn't that outspoken leader that's going to, start screaming at everybody or be the loudest guy in the room, but when he speaks, they listen. And that there's only one other captain I think about in recent years in Detroit with that, and it's Lindstrom. Like, he's not the loudest guy in the room, but when he spoke, they listened. And that's how Dominic Shine leads this team. And I heard Dan Watson say in the pregame today, like, the locker room's got that swagger back. You can tell the swagger, it's back in the room again. And that's so key to have heading into the playoffs. If you can have that mentality where earlier in the season where they went how many games without losing in regulation, and we do post game and they're like, yeah, we go into games expecting to win. You're like, oh boy. All right. Well, that's back in the room again. And that's perfect timing yet again. So happy to have the captain back. The stat is insane. 32, 3-2 is just absurd when your captain's in the lineup. But let's talk about another set of guys that have had an impact. We talked about them with the games, and it's this third line. this new look third line since Stahoviak's been acquired in that trade with Ian Mitchell going out, which obviously that trade at first was like, oh boy, Mitchell's gone. That's a big piece. Then you saw how many defenders were coming in and you understood immediately why they made the trade. And let's just talk about the impact Stahoviak's had. 15 points in 10 games as a Griffin for a guy that when you looked at the stats, you're like, is he going to make an impact or not? He has really stabilized this third line and brought the best out of Raklovsky and Trailmax again. Like all three of these guys just seem like they're unstoppable right now.
I mean, you get a guy, he's more of a veteran, right? He's been around the league for a little bit, a little bit more experience than what you have with Becker. And I think that just helps elevate it, right? Especially on a good Syracuse team. Good culture there. You bring this guy in.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers in Syracuse, right? He had 38 games with them and 17 points, 10 in Grand Rapids and 15 points. It just goes back to that saying of you got to deploy the guys in the right situation. And our system seems to really favor his play style. And it's one of those things where I'm sure the opposing team in this, being Syracuse, looking at this going, where was that when he was here? Like, we look at some guys that Detroit trades. Go, where was that when he was here? It's just how a trade works sometimes. But man, we are really fortunate that this might be one of the best AHL level trades I've seen in a very, very long time.
This might be one of those things too, is like last year we talked a lot about guys that were playing above their spot in the lineup, right? And Becker was able to kind of hold water. He was able to do what he needed to do it night in, night out. And then you get Wojo in there, who is probably a second line center, right? And now he's playing third line. He's taking advantage of the matchups. He's able to produce. He's able to put the points up. I think that's where it is. It's like, because we see Becker go up to the first line and it doesn't translate. It's not there. And then you drop him to the third. He plays well. He's got better nights than others. And now it's, you get Wojo, who's clearly above Becker in the process and the development and the experience. And they just clicked very well together with Trailmax and Raklovsky there.
Yeah,
keep the forward line together.
Go ahead, Jeff.
This is Horkoff's best move since he's been in charge of the Griffins, like by far. He realized what he had, coming in Anton and, what they had available to them still and what was going to be coming. And he was like, okay, I can take a defenseman and get a position of need with maybe a little bit more experience, a little bit bigger body down the middle, maybe a new fresh scenery coming off an injury can provide him that spark. And it's just worked incredible for the Griffins. Yeah, I know I did this with Toledo, but you think back to when Tampa went out and got all them third line guys for a playoff run and we're spending first round picks to do it. Horkoff went out and okay, can we use a depth center somewhere or a depth forward? We got this extra abundance of defensemen because they still have two guys in Toledo on Griffins deals if they need a recall on an emergency, right? Obviously other guys would slot in and then that's worst case scenario, but you have this abundance of defense. Why not go get somebody down the middle that you think can help? And my God, has he stabilized that line again? And it just shows it's not always the big home run trades that can make or break a team. Sometimes it's finding that depth piece you need maybe down the middle or on the wing even just to get you over the top. And he's been phenomenal. So kudos to Horkoff on that one.
I've never seen Brandon so excited about a former Michigan State Spartan either. It blows my mind.
All right, settle down.
This guy's played 2 years at MSU, being in the and then he went international for a long time too. So I don't know if there was maybe a little bit of scouting on him previously when he was closer, a guy that they kept an eye on, and I was able to bring back as well. But interesting point there. I missed that when he joined the team, and I didn't do a whole lot of research on him because being third line, he kind of slips through the cracks. But
if you would have done more research, you would have picked him for Ignite the Nest the week I told you to, and we would have probably won the championship. But anyways, moving on from that sad fact. It's not just his points though, right? We talked about being able to elevate the guys around him. Obviously, got Trailmax back on track. He was rough after the Olympic break, and he's on track, scoring goals at a good pace. Raklovsky's a point per game player since we've acquired Wojo as well. And that's huge. And when you look at Raklovsky overall, he's a guy that doesn't get talked about a lot, being that third line, sometimes fourth line guy, right? Look at the season he's had. He only played 38 games last year with an injury. He had 8 points in those 38 games. He's played 67 games this year. 30 points, 9 goals, 21 assists. That's a massive improvement right there.
Yeah, I'm going to spoil this, but he is going to be my kind of my dark horse underdog guy to watch for the playoffs, the first round, at least against Milwaukee. Just 2 goals. I mean, he's been sneaky good. And I'm excited. I think this is, I'm always looking for that third line, like, guy that's going to be that depth piece. That is the piece that's not really talked about a whole lot. That's going to perform. That's going to put up the points. And I think he's going to be that guy. If we play Milwaukee is what I should say. He is a guy to keep an eye out for that first round.
Well, the crazy part is, too, when you look at that 9-game stretch being a point-per-game player now since Wojo's gotten here, he has 0 points in 3 games out of that stretch. In 2 of those 3, he was not on that third line. Like, that tells you right there, like, that is your playoff third line. You cannot change it. It has to be Wojo, Trailmax, and Roklovsky on that third line because they've been explosive. I mean, even, like we said, Trailmax, again, he's finishing 4th in the team in the regular season in points this year. And since Wojo's gotten here, God, just looking at it quickly and not even doing math, 2 points in the first game he played with them, 1 point, 3 points, 1 point, 2 points, 2 games with 0 points, and then another 3 points in those last 2 games. Like, that's insane to see production at that level at the third line. And Dan Watson's finally back at the point where he can roll 4 lines. This team is best when he can roll 4, and that's what they've got now with this stability here.
It's going to be interesting, too. Like, I was thinking about this the other day, is we're still missing one guy. And so when he comes back, like, what if he comes back? Where do you go? Like, what do you do with this guy? Because
it's going to get interesting when Danny's back. I think we'll talk about that probably in our playoff preview and kind of dive down what that could look like, since he obviously wasn't back in the end of the regular season here. We don't know what his return time frame is going to be, but I have theories, and I'm sure Travis probably already knows where I'm going with that theory of where the lineup and how it looks when Danny's back. So
Yeah, I'll take a guess. 4C.
No. Probably second C and Ammo goes to the wing, but again,
in a perfect world, but we can discuss that later. I just
Exactly.
really thought you'd say 4C. I really thought I had you on that one.
no, we'll save that for the postseason or after the season review. We'll save that discussion for that.
Could be a good opportunity, to be honest. You take advantage of some matchups.
No, Seager is your 4C. You do not change that. He is the guy. I think he's played that position the most all season. You don't touch that. You don't change anything with what Seager's been doing, because he only missed 2 games this entire season as well. Like, he was one of the workhorses of this team. So don't touch it. Next guys I want to talk about, someone that we kind of talked negatively about last week because their performance deserved the negative talk, but Erik Gustafsson this week, a great week, paired with different guys in 2 of the 3 games he played. You had him paired with Anton Wednesday night. We talked about Anton already being really good in that game. So nice bounce back from a rough weekend with those 2 together. But then you saw Gus's goal, which, I mean, an 8-0 win. Does that goal really matter? No, but oh my God, he absolutely undressed the Milwaukee defenseman and goes bar down on Magnus Krona for one of the nastiest goals we've seen this season.
I'd love to see Magnus's girlfriend explain that goal, like, on TikTok, because it was absolutely gross. Even when you said in the group chat, I was like, give it a minute, let me look at this again. And I had to watch it a couple times, but yeah, it was absolutely nasty, especially how he used the other defender as a screen to be able to get that puck.
Yeah,
passed.
100%. But I mean, the performance overall, night and day difference this week from last week. Like, good to see him and Anton bounce back, but also good to see him bounce back as well. It's exactly what you want to see as you head into the stretch. Obviously, he got Sunday off, which well-deserved, being one of the vets here that wasn't playing in Sunday's game. But just seeing those 2 stabilize themselves there was great. But honestly, the pairing of Gus and Tuomisto, it's really, really good. I know we talk about 2-0, and he's the next guy I want to talk about in this transition here, but we talk about him. Is he going to be like a top 4 NHL defenseman? Probably not. His skating is the one thing that holds him back, but he's a wonderful stay-at-home defenseman that when he gets the opportunity to shoot, obviously it's a rocket off that stick. But if he can play that stay-at-home role and unleash Gus to go do Gus things, it's such a solid pairing that I wouldn't argue seeing that be the first pairing in the playoffs. And I know Bob interviewed 2-0 for a couple different reasons this week. We'll talk about the next reason in a second. But in Bob's interview, he mentioned that Tuomisto has become one of the better, if not best, defensemen in the American League this year. When you're talking about American League guys, I wanted to get your take on that.
He's had such an odd career so far. going international, going college, and then coming to the AHL, and now he's got a military stint in the middle of it. It's just it's very weird. He's not a guy that we're noticing, right? Which is good on the defensive end, right? For a while, we were noticing Wally just not be able to keep the puck in, and we're not seeing those issues with Tuo. We're not seeing just bad pinches or getting caught off, too far up the ice, or a guy slipping behind him back door to put the puck in. The mistakes are very far and in between. I just don't know where he goes. Who does he get paired with in Detroit? Like, you want him paired with an offensive guy, right, to stay at home, and that's not Albert.
I'm not really thinking the future of Detroit for him. I'm more thinking just what the playoffs are going to look like. I think there's so many other things that maybe prevent him from being in Detroit. But looking at the remaining part of this season, with it being the postseason, just what impact he can make and where he can slot in there. If you're pairing him with Gus, I think it's a brilliant thing to do. I know there's so many other defensemen that you're like, well, you can put this guy there, you can put this guy there, but that pairing just seems to work so well. I mean, you look at Tuo's numbers, he did finish 37th among defensemen in the American League in points. And again, he plays more of that stay-at-home role on this team. To finish the season with 29 points, 21 assists, 8 goals in those 68 games he played, still a very impressive season from him. When you look at last season, 27 points in 67 games. So stability there on the point side for him, but going from being a +2 last season to a +29 this season is definitely something to be notable. Again, plus minus isn't the end all be all stat, but when you notice an outlier or a big difference, it's definitely something to look at.
Credit to Brian Lashoff just working with these guys. Like, I feel like the last 2 years we were really like hounding the defensive pairs, right? This year they've just kind of rolled. It feels like they've just rolled the dice. Like, all right, you're out there with this guy. Like, it's not something that we're like, why isn't this guy with this guy? This guy should be paired here. Like, these guys, we see two on the third. We've seen him on the first. We've seen him on the second. Like, he's just been up and down, and he's been pretty steady throughout the year, I feel.
I mean, I would agree.
Probably
Is he
AKL.
though?
AKL's your odd man out? Bro,
I would say so right now.
It's going to come down to Wally or William.
Why do you say that?
Look at your right side.
Yeah.
2-0, ASP, Anton. Look at your left side. Gus, Lagesson, Wally or William. AKL is probably the 8th defenseman. Like,
your 7th is probably William.
If I'm going on the statistical argument here, Tuomisto finished 2nd defenseman on this team in points, finished 2nd in plus minus. I don't think he's an odd man out.
No, I mean, like, that's where I was like, I think it's one of Wally, William, and I would say it's probably Wally or William at this point.
Agree with you.
Now, granted, if there's back-to-backs, could you see one go in for the other? 100%.
Oh, yeah.
But
the defense is in the best situation possible if there's a back-to-back situation with how the AHL playoff schedule can be. Like, you might play game 1 on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and you might play game 2 and 3 Friday, Saturday. Like, that's just how it works in this league. So if we're in a great spot with defenders there, because if you're telling me, oh, you got to rotate in Shai Buium to take it, oh no, how terrible is that? Like, we're in such a good spot, but Tuomisto was the focus of that because I really wanted to give him his flowers there for one, an incredible season. 2, he's such a fun player to watch, not just for his facial expressions on the ice while he's playing, but just how he approaches the game. And 3, the fun story that came out of the week for him was that he was absent for the team for a couple of days. He had to go back to Finland for military duty, which it's mandatory for males in Finland to participate in that. And Bob interviewed him and kind of got the explanation on this, as he had to go get everything lined up. And this summer he'll be partaking in all the drills and stuff that they have to do. But it is a specialized unit for athletes, which is kind of cool. Their training is different. Their approach to everything is different. And obviously being an athlete, they get some exclusions from everything, but a specialized military unit of athletes in Finland. Can you imagine what that being a part of that unit's like?
Probably scary.
Well, it's probably like if you go to like Navy or the Air Force, or, like when you play college hockey for one of those universities or like one of those programs, like that's probably how it's approached, right? You have your military training and schooling, and then you have your hockey. So, I mean, for him, it just falls in the summer.
Right, which good for him. But I imagine that unit, like, specialized, like their training is probably more focused on tactics over conditioning.
Yeah, it's weird too, because like this happened in Toledo a few years ago. Like we lost a guy in, I think it was like February, March, and he didn't come back. He wasn't on the playoff roster. Like, just shows you, like, thankfully for Tuo, it was just a couple days, like not a month and a half.
Yeah, hopefully it's not something that starts like, in the finals.
It was weird too, because we noticed that he wasn't there and we were just like, where, like, why isn't he playing? Like, I feel like we talked about this. We're like,
We did.
It's odd that he's just not, and nobody said anything. Nobody, I'm trying to think of the title. The media guy, Stridle. What's his title? Like even Griffin's PR like didn't say anything of like, oh yeah, he's out. He's doing this or doing that or whatever. I feel like he did this a couple years ago too, but
I don't know if it was him or somebody else. I can't remember.
based off the interview, it sounded like it was his first time, and I'm like, I swear, like
I
somebody.
thought it was Vero that it happened to.
Maybe that makes sense too.
Yeah, but
They had to
wild.
leave for a little bit.
Again, the wild stories of the season continue because that's not one we expected to ever talk about. All right, last couple guys to talk about here, and we'll kind of talk about them in a group. Obviously, we talked about Dylan James getting his 2-goal game today with his first pro goal. You had Kiskinen getting his first goal. You also had Draper making his debut this week. I want to start with Dylan James because obviously all three of these guys are going to be full-time Griffins next year, right? How excited are you to have Dylan James on this team next season, potentially for a full season? Because what we've seen from him in this small sample size has really impressed me.
I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. He had a really good college season. He was ready to go this year. He's got a great personality too. For the interview with him and Bob talks very highly of him as well. I'm excited to be able to get a chance to talk with him during the playoffs. But he plays a really good style. He's all over the place, forechecking, just hitting guys, and he's getting his offensive opportunities as well. It's definitely somebody that's noticeable, right? Sometimes you get these college kids and it's just like you notice the size on some of these guys. I remember when Hunter joined us the one year, we're like, that's a man. That's
not a boy, that's a man.
That is, yeah. And so I'm excited to be able to actually like see Dylan James in person, see it, size him up, I guess you could say, when we go down to interview him and things like that. But as a player, like he's fantastic. I'm excited. I'm wondering, like, for next season, I could see him kind of maybe slotting in the first or second with, kind of replacing the Mazer side, maybe, just a big body guy that creates the opportunities. I don't know if he'll
Similar play style.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll score as much, but I think he'll be that same kind of style player.
I think what James' advantage is over Maze, and you're talking about the comparison there, is the board play. Like Mazer plays the game a little differently now since the injuries to avoid injury, obviously. And Dylan James is just kind of going in like a bull in a china shop, man. Like it's insane. So I'm really excited to see a full season of him. I'm also really excited to see a full season of Kiskinen. I'm really happy after all the talk of like the down season overseas this year for what he's been able to do and come in. He has not looked out of place a second. The offensive upside is definitely there, but he still has a snarl to his game too, where he can get under the other team's skin. I'm really excited to see what a full season of him is going to look like.
I kind of wish he was here all season instead of in the finish league. I wish we would have got a full season of him here. I think that would have helped a lot too with the Toledo call-ups where we lost guys like Killy and people like that. I think he needed a change of scenery, to be honest with you. He's got a great shot, great release. Have an MBN. That could have been a cool little line there between the two of them with the releases that they have and just the eye for the net, right? Put the puck in the back. So I've been impressed with him. An off season, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit faster. I'm excited to see, it's frustrating, right? Like to watch how the Wings fall apart at the end of the season and everybody's mad. And it's like, we're frustrated because we're like, we see the plan, we see these guys coming in and we're this close. Like we're just this much longer. Just be patient and you're going to see some of these guys. I know they don't always translate, but to see what we see, it's exciting on our end, he's one of those exciting players.
Yeah, he goes to the net hard, man. That's what I love about him the most is he's not afraid to go park it in front of the net and be an absolute menace. He's just going to be fun to watch. I'm really excited to watch this kid develop. And then we got to talk about Keenan Draper, right? We didn't know what to expect. I think there's a lot of discourse around this player because obviously the college production wasn't there. But when you look at it and peel it back, let's say a guy like Seeger is not back with this team next season. He's going to fit in that spot perfectly.
That's his role right there. Honestly, like I watched him today. He was on the ice for the empty netter with when Kenneth Liepert scored that on accident. And so coach trusts him and overtime, or not overtime, but the last minute. He trusts them out there. I watched him a lot today. He took a lot of faceoffs. I don't have faceoff stats because the organization doesn't love us. It doesn't give that to us. But it felt like what I observed was he won a lot of faceoffs today. And I think that's an important part because that is something that we did talk about a lot last year of we can't win faceoffs to save our life. And Seager was really good last year with it. He's been good this year as well, but I feel like faceoffs has been a very big part of this team, and being able to win those has been important. So, from what I remember, his faceoff stats in college were really good too.
They were. Yeah, he was in the high 40s, I think, this past season, which is perfectly fine. And again, if you got to replace a guy like Seager with him, it's a perfect fit, perfect match. I would like to see the faceoff stats so far since he's been here, but at the same time, it's another guy that, is he going to break down the doors in the NHL? Probably not, but is he going to be a lot of fun to potentially watch here and grind away on the fourth and third line? Yeah, he's going to be a guy that is going to be a lot of fun to watch in that role.
He could be the next Dom Scheid. He starts out on the fourth line and then he starts building himself up. You never know, and then he makes it to the NHL. Like his dad has the pedigree. He made it to the NHL. What's Stanley Cup?
It looks just like his dad too. Good Lord. If you didn't know the last name, you know exactly that they're related. It looks spot on. It's kind of scary almost.
I laugh because when I went to Michigan a couple years ago to watch him, like we saw him the next day out for breakfast. And I remember Rhea was like, "That's Keita Draper." Like just being able to point him out in the middle of the crowd. Like, oh yeah, this is the rest of Michigan hockey here. He eat breakfast with, not with us, but at the same place. But
I'd say, did you buy him breakfast or something? That's so nice of you, Sparty fan.
No, he did not.
Let's go blue. Anyways, that's all we have for player chat and storylines of the week. Let us know who you thought stood out this week. What do you think heading into the playoffs? What's the matchups going to look like? Who do you want to see? Because again, we don't know who we're playing in our first round, the second round of the AHL playoffs, but we're not playing in the first round. We don't know who we're going to play. It's going to be interesting, but let's talk about how these matchups have actually settled in across the American Hockey League here. We'll start in the Central Division. The only play-in round happening in the Central Division is going to be between Manitoba and Milwaukee. Grand Rapids has the first round bye. Chicago and Texas is going to be the matchup for the division semifinals on that end of things. We'll head over to the Pacific Division. The only team getting the bye there is Ontario. You have 3 play-in round matchups, which again are best of 3s. You have Colorado and San Diego, Henderson and San Jose, and Coachella Valley and Bakersfield matching up there. We'll head over to the Atlantic. You have 2 teams that get the first round bye there that are waiting for these other 2 matchups to happen. You have Providence and Wilkes-Barre awaiting them. The first matchup in the best of 3 is Charlotte and Springfield, and then Bridgeport and Hershey, with Bridgeport being the higher seed than Hershey. And if you've listened to the show all season and listened to us talk about the standings, Bridgeport being higher seeded than Hershey is just wild to us. It's an absolutely insane turnaround. Congratulations to them. In the North Division, Laval gets the first round bye. The division semifinal matchup between Syracuse and Cleveland is locked in, and the best of 3 matchup in that division is Toronto and Rochester. That's going to be a very interesting one because Rochester just kind of limped their way into the playoffs after having a really good season. They have fallen apart here dramatically near the end of the season. Really interested to see how that one unfolds. And the Syracuse-Cleveland one's going to be a very interesting one to watch too. But heading over back to the Central, guys, before we talk about our playoff preview, I want to get the on-the-spot prediction here. Who's winning the Manitoba-Milwaukee series?
I think it's going to be Milwaukee. And I want to say Milwaukee. Right. I think with their NHL, they dropped a lot of guys. Milwaukee's been pretty decent, like in the mushy middle all season. So I'm not surprised that they got the play-in round. But lately, they have not gotten it. They have not gotten it going. I don't know if it's just that, those NHL guys come back from Nashville with a little bit of stink since they didn't make the playoffs. Maybe got used to a little bit of losing and now it's moved over to Milwaukee. I don't know. But We've done better against Milwaukee, so I'm hoping Milwaukee is who wins against Manitoba. But I could see this going the full tilt.
I'm gonna go with Manitoba.
Yeah, what's the reason behind that?
I think back to what you said when you talked to Watson earlier this year, and he said when that team figures it out, that's going to be a tough team to play against. And with how Milwaukee's going right now, like the Griffins might have literally just sunk the ship there the other night. White flag might be up in the air before the playoffs start for them, or they're going to be so pissed off at it that they just run through the moose. But I think when Waddy said that, And now that, the Jets didn't make it either, so they're going to potentially get a couple guys who I don't know what their situation is.
I don't think they got a lot of guys. I don't think the
No.
Jets prospect pool is that deep. So
I mean, they're kind of transitioning into a younger crew, so I wasn't sure if they had maybe a couple guys come back. But I still think back to Waddy saying when they figure it out, they're going to be tough. And when he says something like that, that just sticks with you.
it definitely does. And we saw that firsthand against us. They figured it out and they got to be a really good team. And Dylan Moulton's 1-0 against the Grand Rapids Griffins, as he reminded us, So it's going to be interesting. That playoff series kicks off on the 22nd on Wednesday in Manitoba. So you got the game on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday is how that series breaks down. If it needs to go to 3 games, it'll be interesting to see if it does. Because like you said, Milwaukee, they had a rough last week of the season. Crazy to think that they had a 3-3 to finish out the season too. Who knows if that can carry over. Some tired guys there. Obviously, they rested some guys Friday against Grand Rapids, but they went 2 games in 1 period or 1.5 periods without scoring a goal this weekend. That's not how you want to walk into the Calder Cup playoffs if you're any team. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But to transition to the other matchup, who wins between Chicago and Texas?
Gotta be Chicago. I just think Texas is
A
good.
very
They've always
even
been good.
matchup.
Is it? I don't know what the series it was for them.
I don't know the season series, but when you look at just statistics overall, Chicago did finish second in the division at 87 points, Texas in third at 80 points. We know the start of the season was rough at one point. They were in last for a hot minute there. But just looking at the past 10 heading into the playoffs, Chicago is 6-2-1-1. Texas is 5-3-1. And Cross Hannes is a soccer player for Texas, apparently.
Did see that. I think Chicago's been good all year. I think they probably got some guys back too. A full, healthy, guys back from the NHL because Chicago's not making my bad.
Because the
Here.
Chicago Wolves affiliate there. Nice.
It always throws me off. Sorry.
No, Chicago and Rockford both did not make the playoffs. Tough scenes for that organization right now.
Chicago and Texas. Chicago 1-6-0-1
Against Texas?
Against Texas this year.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you, Travis, for pulling that stat to change all of our opinions instantly.
Pretty sure. Yeah. 1-6-0-1 Chicago was against Texas this year.
Wow.
Why so
They
bad?
did not play them in the beginning of the season, clearly.
No, no, they did not. Let's go with Texas, I guess. Jeez.
Yeah, that just settled it for all of us there. Wow.
Texas was 7-1 as a whole.
Wow. When you look at the grand scheme of things, right? Obviously, Grand Rapids going through Milwaukee and Chicago is just fun for the IHL days. When you look at them going through Milwaukee and Texas potentially is the teams that have knocked you out of the playoffs the last 2 years. There's revenge stories there. Either way for the Griffins, besides playing the Moose, that's the least fun option. That's kind of the other 3 teams. It's fun. There's just storylines there. There's history. I think that's what we'd want to see. But yeah, Texas, wow. That was eye-opening.
This might be a really stupid question. You can leave it in because I don't really care if I get the slander. MB would be Manitoba, right?
Is correct.
They were 3-4-1-0 against Milwaukee this year.
Jeez.
So that's a much tighter.
Yeah.
Much tight. So call it 3.
How did Manitoba play against Milwaukee at home is the question.
Yeah, I don't know that. I just pulled up the daily report for the American League and it lists every team's matchup against each other through the year because we were talking about it and I was just wonder what it is. I was stunned when I seen 1-6-0-1 for that other matchup. That's wild.
Shocking.
In the wrong way from what we kind of maybe thought.
The only benefit there is, well, actually, it's not a benefit for either team because both of their NHL clubs are in the playoffs. Oh,
Yeah, I did not expect to see 1-6-0-1. That's
wow.
Well, so the one was a shootout. So they're 6-1, as a whole, you take the one that went to the shootout out of there. Because this time of the year, you got to look at regulation win versus
Correct,
loss,
yeah.
not
Shootouts
the 3-on-3
don't matter.
in the shootouts. 6-1 is pretty damn good for Texas against Chicago.
Oh, boy. Well, that makes it even more interesting when you think about it. Now, we'll give our full playoff breakdown. The boys have homework this week to complete their entire bracket before we do our playoff preview on next week's episode. We'll give you the full breakdown of how we think it's going to shake out for the entire American League, as I just surprised the guys with their homework for the week right now. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to playoff standings is Patrick Williams shared this stat on Twitter today, and it was the NHL teams or NHL organizations that have their organization in the playoffs at all 3 pro levels in North America. So NHL, AHL, and ECHL. Boston has Providence in Maine in the playoffs. Dallas has Texas and Idaho. Edmonton has Bakersfield and Fort Wayne. Pittsburgh has Wilkes-Barre and Wheeling. And Vegas has Henderson and Tahoe. I guess the pool of talent and depth in Vegas is not as small as we thought it once was. It's kind of shocking to see all 3 levels for Vegas being there because they've sold the farm so many times to get guys.
Which team sticks out the most here? Is it Vegas for you with just like with you going through that? Like, is it Vegas for you?
I think it is just because of how many trades they've made recently and how many pieces they've given away during that time to see the pool still be full enough. If I had to pick a second one there, I'd probably say Edmonton is another shocking one to see. Bakersfield and Fort Wayne. Obviously, we know, speaking about Toledo so much this season, what Fort Wayne has done and how good they are. And I don't think it's really full of like Oilers prospects necessarily. I just think they've done some really good roster management down there. I mean, how many times have we seen them acquire guys, drop guys, do roster moves constantly this season? The Vegas one stands out, I think, the most. What about you?
Mine's Pittsburgh. How quickly Kyle Dubas has gotten in there and gotten that cupboard like somewhat filled through the American League. I looked at Wheeling's lineup sheet the other night. There had to be like damn near a dozen Penguin and like logos next to the names. Like they have a plethora of guys playing in just Wheeling, let alone what Wilkes-Barre did this year. And both of them teams, I mean, well, Wilkes-Barre didn't win their division, right? They were in second, but like Wheeling, they pretty much ran the North and the Coast. Like how quickly Kyle Dubas has kind of stocked that cupboard as they are, trying to keep the band together with Letang, Crosby, Malkin while still getting younger. Like he's found them pieces for the NHL while also finding guys for his lower level teams in the minors. I think it's impressive. Toronto could use them, right?
Did you hear that? I think I can hear Leafs fans crying right now. Oh, it is insane. Because when you look at Wilkes-Barre too, like second in the division, yes, that's still a 101 point season. They finished third in the league in points. Like that's impressive.
My question though is how many of those guys did Dubas actually sign? Because like let's just go through this hypothetical. If Steve stepped away and then Draper took over, everybody's like, oh my gosh, look at this craziness, like all these prospects. So that's one of those things where it's like, okay, how many of those guys? Because I'm with you though, Travis, is like when Brandon runs through that list, I was like, okay, Vegas, I could see that. I could see that being surprising, right? My next one would be Pittsburgh, right? Because that's, a team like since 2008, they've gone through their not so great times. They've been in the finals. Kind of consistently, right?
3 times, 3 cups,
3 cups,
4 appearances,
more than us. But I just remember that rivalry with us, right? Back in those days, is 2008, 2009, during those times, they're back in the playoffs again this year.
But they were at the beginning. We were at the end. Like,
yeah.
We were starting to nosedive a little. They were like the up and comers, like. But yeah, I see where you're going for sure. Like,
well, I mean, another shocking one on the list could be Boston. Like Boston's back in the playoffs. Their AHL team finished top of the league. Like that's a quick turnaround, really quick turnaround.
They like went to the bargain store for the NHL so they could keep their kids down in Providence. Like they didn't really have to rush guys this year. Like they could let guys develop down there. Like you look at like Morgan Geekie, who had him having the year he had. Like that's like, and they had a couple other like key pro signings in Boston that allowed their depth to keep developing and mature and like down in the American League. Like I'll just say this while we're on this topic, like the one that doesn't shock me is Dallas, like with Jim Nill.
Not at all.
Not at all. Yeah, Boston, that's another good one. Like they're bounced back and they're beating Buffalo right now.
I mean, if you told me at the beginning of the season it would be Dallas, Texas, and Idaho making it, I'd be like, you're crazy. But here we are. Because I mean, Idaho wasn't great at the beginning of the season either in an ECH.
Well, at Texas, like they had the horrid start, and then they turned it around quickly.
New coach, they had to figure each other out, and they did. And look at them now. I mean, they're scary. It's a scary team. There's a Ritzkovi in there again. Like that's scary enough for me. So it is wild to see, and it's unfortunate we're not talking about Detroit in this aspect because I mean the Griffins and the Walleye have made the playoffs consecutive years now for a while. It just sucks that it hasn't gotten to that level there. And that's an off-season fun topic. We're not going to be doom and gloom about everything because we have 2 teams in the playoffs. We'll save the doom and gloom for our friends at all the other Red Wings shows like Grindline Podcasts. So we'll save that for them. I got to listen to their latest episodes still. I'm behind, but I'm sure it's full of sadness.
The eulogy is what they called it.
Yeah, well, that's pretty fitting. I think they need to have us on here soon so we can lift the spirits of Red Wings fans with some fun Griffins talk. But outside of that, I have nothing else for this episode, so we'll wrap this up. Before we go, we got to thank the sponsors of the show, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. When you're betting at DraftKings, use code THPN. When you're shopping at everythinghockey.com, use code WEST to save a few bucks off your order. We also got to thank our lovely Patreon subscribers over at patreon.com as well. Who are those lovely folks this week, Nick?
Our lovely folk.
He doesn't have it pulled up yet. I thought he'd have this list memorized after game 72 of the season.
Think I have anything memorized?
Not a chance.
Our lovely Patreons are Jason C., Bex, Alan and GR, Bert Rito, Zach, Darren Swartz, Peter Grell, Joe Schroeder, D-Boss is D-Boss, Tyler Ingalls, John of Florida, Elaine Grace, Griffin Knott from GR, Derek Sleazer, Lori and Alec Foch, and Michael Elsante.
Thank you all for the love and support. We appreciate you guys. All right. Well, that is it. No Griffins hockey to talk about this week. Toledo Walleye kick off their playoff run this week, though, so stay tuned for our episode later this week on them. Lots of fun stuff. I'm hopefully making the trip down there on Saturday to watch them in person and take over postgame because Travis won't be there. So I'll get to run the show down there for once, for the first time ever. I'm going to get so trolled by Hawk while I do that. I guarantee it. But it'll be a fun time.
You might be in the clear. I'm probably the one that's going to die whenever I make it back.
We'll make sure of it. But either way, stay tuned for that coverage. We'll have our Griffins playoff preview for you guys next week, Monday. Hopefully is when that episode will be released. So stay tuned for that. And I believe through the playoffs, we are going to go back to our crazy, insane format for the Grand Rapids Griffins, where we record an episode immediately after every single game and drop that for you. So you get the updates the following day so you can understand what happened, who stood out, and how we swept the team in the first round. Just calling it now. Either way, with that, everybody have a fantastic week. Enjoy the NHL playoffs. Enjoy the ECHL playoffs as they kick off. And as always, go Griffins, go Walleye.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your hosts, Nick at GR Hockey Guy, Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey, and Travis at Trav in T-Town.